Is it China is also, if you're getting divorced, you get 50-50?
That's the basic principle.
I understand. I think as the lawyer, you would say that it's a good idea to sign a prenup
Yes.
before the marriage. But some people saying that it kills all the romances and
Well, personally, I have very different perspective. I think prenuptial agreements, the agreements before marriage, is definitely a very romantic agreement. It is really important for both sides to talk about this relationship deeper, not just about the good sides, but all about the bad sides. They have to, because it happens many times.
What is the main reason for divorce in China right now?
Based on my observation as a lawyer, definitely my clients have many reasons for divorce. Maybe like the husband cheating, or having really bad sex relationship. But for the most common reasons, I think, is about the economic issues. For example, the economy level of one side just declines suddenly.
If two people get married, right? They got the mortgage, they cannot pay it now. They're getting divorced. Do they have to split it 50-50 as well after they finish paying it?
It depends.
And another topic that I want to talk to you about today is the labor laws here in China. Let's say someone is working his normal job, 9 to 5. He's doing overtime. He is okay with that. The boss said that he's gonna pay him. He overtime for like 5 or 6 hours. But I heard that in many cases, the boss starts counting the time later than it should. So I'm working 9 to 5. I finish my work at 10, but the boss counted like only for last 2 hours, from like 8 to 10. What an employee can do in this case?
I don't think they have choice in this scenario.
Really?
That's too harsh for them.
But is there anything they can do about it? So they can't sue their boss, right? For that.
So once you sue your boss, how can you keep your job?
Hello world, this is Say It Slow podcast, episode 10. We have a double digit and a little birthday. Penco, we invited you today as the lawyer and just a great guy to ask you simple but very important questions about the local legal system that can be beneficial to a lot of people. You told me that you traveled to America, right? Just recently you came back. How was your trip? What did you do there?
Yeah, but first of all, I'm glad to be here. I'm appreciating this chance to be interviewed. And as for your first question, I just came to United States to take bar exam. And I remember the last time you asked me, what's bar exam? I suppose you mean I wanted I try to become a bartender.
No, I was thinking you're doing the bartender. You said you're having a bar exam, BAR, right? So I took it as the bar.
The bar is the bar in the courthouse.
Okay.
So so exactly. I'm trying to take the legal certificate in United States. I'm trying to pass the bar exam in New York City. Mm-hmm. In New York State. And I don't have too much time for trip. So that's how do you say that? It's a common trick for me. Just the only purpose to take the bar exam.
But how was your experience there as the lawyer? Did you felt any differences in, let's say you were taking exams here as well, right? And now you took that exam there in New York.
Yeah.
Any professional insights? Anything that you can tell that obviously very different in approach?
Of course. There are a lot of differences between the Chinese law and the laws in the United States, because maybe in the United States there are common law systems, which means case laws. The precedents, the previous cases are binding in legal disputes. But in China, we have like codes, for example, civil codes, criminal codes. We use statutes. In the trial, so that's the.
What is a statute? What does it mean?
Statutes means the sentence in the code.
And how? Okay, so you're using the sentence.
So for example, the code number 1, the code number 2.
Oh, okay. So you're just referring to the codes, and that's and then you bring it in the court.
Yeah, and the precedents are not bindings in China. even though sometimes the judge will consider the precedents we submit, but it is not binding.
What do you think about the American legal system in general? For example, I know that there is still a lot of kind of funny and crazy laws, like in Utah, I think, when they banned mustache, you cannot wear mustache and go to the church, or like some people can, the ground law, which means that if someone step on your ground, you can immediately shoot them without any concern or asking any questions if they are on your property. What do you think about those kind of laws that's still implemented there? Which kind of sounds very brutal, right? Because it's very hard to define who is right in that kind of situation.
I think the weird law you mentioned definitely have different cultural background. For example, the last time I was having my trip in state of Utah, and then I just talked to a Uber driver, and he told me that it is legal for people it is legal for male to have multiple wives in Utah.
In Utah.
Utah, I was in shock. I mean, I know in some country it is legal to have like several wives. For example, in Saudi Arabic, it is fine. But in the United States,
Yeah,
that's big.
Actually, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I think the first reaction is that my first reaction is that it is definitely unconstitutional. It's big. This bigamy, I think, right? It's crazy. I just did a research after this meeting with this Uber driver. I knew that okay, the Utah State just make the big mercy into a kind of misdemeanor, right? So you just need to pay around 750 USD fine, and you can have
multiple wives. Wait, but how it works in one country? Let's say, okay, let's say I have 3 wives in Utah, right? What if I'm just traveling to another state? Then I'm getting illegal? Or this marriage is not counting as real marriage?
I think the other state won't recognize this kind of marriage from Utah. The other state won't recognize it. That's interesting. And also, a female can have multiple husbands.
Oh, okay. We have diversity, right?
Yeah,
it have to be equal. In America, it have to be equal. So
as long as you pay fine.
Exactly. Wow, but it's a loophole, right? It's literally they just left you a little bit space on purpose so they can. But so curious why the government should do that? Like, there's no cultural background to that. It's not. It's never been there before.
I think. Do you know Mormonism? Mormonism.
What is that?
So Mormonism is kind of religions in Utah State.
Mormonism. Yeah, Mormons, exactly.
Yeah, Mormonism.
Oh, those guys can have multiple wives, and they have like big community in Utah, so they decide to leave it there for themselves.
Yes. According to the Bible of Mormonism, they think it is a better way for you to get closer to the God by having multiple wives.
That's gonna make you pretty close. But actually, for those who listening who don't know who Mormons is, these are the people who think that they should live as 100 years ago, right? They're wearing same dresses. They live. I think they're not using cars. They're trying at least not to use any modern technology or anything. They're driving like these cages with the vegetables. I mean, I saw the pictures. They're going to the markets and then they're just carrying these carriages to back to their houses. It's wild. It looks pretty wild when you see that in 2025, especially when we're sending people to Mars soon. Talking about marriages, actually, what's your opinion on those divorce cases? Like in America, for example, I think one of the biggest one when Jeff Bezos' wife, when they got divorced, and then she got 1% of his wealth. And immediately she became the most rich woman in the world. She got like $38 billion. Do you think it's... I don't want to ask you, do you think illegal, but what's your opinion on that? Because obviously she didn't earn that money, right? But by the law, when they're getting a divorce, she had to get something out of his money as well, even though she didn't earn that money. Do you think it's Do you think it's something that people should keep doing it, or we should have a different perspective on that?
You mean my perspective,
Yeah, your
Laura,
perspective.
in the United States?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're getting your exam there. You might.
I think that's the law in the United States. For example, in California, they have a kind of community property system, which means that you will get like a 50-50 distribution in a divorce case, and that's law. And in China, we also have the similar system. So
Is it China is also, if you're getting divorced, you get 50-50?
that's the basic principle. Yeah. So I think that's common sense for me. If you think you want to marry this female, you should have this kind of thinking in your mind. Maybe in the future, we have to split like half of your property to this female.
What about that goes to the property as well, and the cars and everything? I mean, whatever you own, not only in terms of money, right? Whatever equity you have, like the house also going to be split 50-50. It must be sold, and then
Yes.
you split the money as well.
Yes.
What do you think about the? I want to check what was the right name for it? Just give me 1 second. The prenups, right? I forgot the word. I understand. I think as the lawyer, you would say that it's a good idea to sign a prenup
Yes.
before the marriage. But some people saying that it kills all the romances, and if you really trust a person you're going to the relationship and marriage with, some people don't want to do that. What your advice will be to them?
Well, personally, I have very different perspective. I think prenuptial agreements, I mean the agreements before marriage, is definitely a very romantic agreement, right? I will expand it. Like I mean, in this way, prenuptial agreement is a way for both parties to talk about their relationship seriously, right? When I, for example, before marriage, when I talk to a female, I say I love you very much, but at the time, I think both sides know maybe in the future they will have disputes.
But they don't want to believe in that idea, right? When you're with someone, you don't want to think about what's going to happen if you break up in the future, especially when you're about to get married.
Yeah, so I think it is really important for both sides to talk about this relationship deeper, not just about the good sides, but all about the bad sides. They have to, because it happens many times.
As far as you're saying that it happens many times, I think you, as a lawyer who deal with that, you saw many cases. Can you tell us from your personal experience, professional experience, what is the main reason for divorce in China right now? Because I heard that the divorce happening more and more, and actually happening all over the world, not only here.
Yeah.
People are getting less married in general. The divorces are higher. We're having less children, which is a big problem, I think, for humanity in general. Because if you're not getting married, and there's potentially lowering the chance that you're gonna have children, and then when you have a lot of old people in your country, you have to pay them because they need to survive, and they need to eat, they need to live. And as soon as you have more old people and less young people who can work, that's going to go to your taxes, that's going to go to the prices, and it's like a bomb. One moment when it's going to start, it's very hard to fix it, because now you need to wait for another generation to grow, who can again boost your economy back. So back to my question, what do you think is the biggest reason now in China for the divorce?
Well, based on my observation as a lawyer, definitely my clients have many reasons for divorce. Maybe like the husband cheating, or having really bad sex relationship. But for the most common reasons, I think, is about the economic issues. For example, the economy level of one side just declines suddenly, or they have a lot of debts.
But is it easier to pay the debt if you're working together? So I'm married with someone, and then my financial situation went down, but now it's like if my personal debt, so because I cannot sustain the family, you mean that the reason why the another party will like to divorce so they don't take the debt on them
If
as
it
well?
is easy for both sides to work together to pay the debt, that won't be a problem. When I say that's a problem, which means that the debt is super high, it's super big.
What is it, like a credit or mortgage or something like that?
Mortgage, for example,
Mortgage.
mortgage, they just can't pay the mortgage. For example, like husband just lost his job, just for the wife, the income of the wife is not enough to pay the mortgage. So that will be a problem.
But what happens after that? So they got divorced, but the mortgage is still there. They cannot just cancel it, right? So now it's just the the guy now alone gonna pay by himself. And again, what happens?
Oh,
For example, if two people got married, right? They got the mortgage. They cannot pay it now. They're getting divorced. Do they have to split it 50-50 as well after they finish paying it?
It depends. It depends. Well, that's a long story for this issue. For make it easy. For example, if you like let's say the husband just bought this property, the real estate before marriage, and without and the husband paid the mortgage on his own all the time. So I think that's that will be the husband's debt, but which means that the husband will still owns this property, okay, after divorce lawsuit. But what if the husband and the wife they pay the mortgage altogether after marriage?
Means that they invested together as well.
Yes, they have to pay the mortgage together.
Wow, that's again, I know that not many people talk about it, but this issue of the people getting less and less married concerns me a lot because I think it might really play the bad card with everyone, everywhere. It's happened in Asia, it happens in Europe, it happens in America, everywhere. People just surprisingly getting more educated, and then women just don't want to get pregnant anymore because they want to focus on their work. And our society is just want to focus on ourselves too much. Like I'm having my hobbies, I'm having a good time, but then I don't think it can be. If you ever met, an old lonely person, it's sad as hell. It's sad as hell if you're old and you don't have a family. So I hope that we will find courage to stay together, and maybe, even though I don't have children, so maybe I'm the wrong person to talk about it, but I believe we should do it. And when I see the statistics on divorce, it's driving me completely crazy, completely crazy. Um, the another topic that I want to talk to you about today is the labor laws here in China, and the biggest concern is the overtime. Let's put it in simple words. Let's say someone is working his normal job, 9 to 5. He's doing overtime. He is okay with that. The boss said that he's gonna pay him. He overtime for like 5 or 6 hours. But I heard that in many cases, the boss starts counting the time later than it should. So I'm working 9 to 5. I finish my work at 10, but the boss counted like only for last 2 hours, from like 8 to 10. What an employee can do in this case.
I think it is not so wise for the employer to do that in this way, because once I try to, for example, assume that I'm the employer. Once I try to count your time for extra work after 8 p.m., which means that I admit the fact that I try to let you work after 8 p.m. Do you see? Do you know what I mean? That's
So
an
the
evidence.
fact that or you're already overtime until 8.
So
is already-
it is easier for the employee to prove the fact that working extra time. You see, so I represent companies and also employees in labor disputes. If I represent the employers, I mean the companies, I always suggest the employer that don't never just come walking extra time in this way. Just don't count it. Just don't pay it. The money for this part, or exactly you pay this money, but just don't mention that this part of money is for working extra time.
But you're talking from the perspective of the company, right? What if it's a person, let's say an employee, want to do something like I don't want to lose my job, right? Let's say I'm having a good money, right? Or I have a family, I have a mortgage. I don't want to lose the job. I don't want to confront my boss, but I still want to at least get paid in full. Can I get like a legal service? What's the way and what's the solution of this kind of problem?
I don't think they have choice in this scenario.
Really?
That's too harsh for them.
But is there anything they can do about it?
I mean,
So they can't sue their boss, right? For that.
so once you sue your boss, how can you keep your job? How can you keep your job in this company? That's a problem, right? You don't have other leverage for this issue.
What if someone? Okay, let's imagine that the case is worse. Let's say someone just completely not paying me for overtime. They're just not paying me this money. I'm finishing at 10, but they're not counting any overtime. Should I just quit? Or there's any solution how I can legally fix it and still get out of this situation?
I don't think we have an easy answer for this question. Once you try to do something about your boss, you need to think about what if you lose your job, right? Maybe you get offers from another company. That's fine. You can just try to sue your employer and your boss in the courtroom.
Can I sue my boss and get money for that? For like they're saying emotional damage or something like that?
No, emotional damage. No. That's impossible for that, I think.
That's not gonna work here.
No, not gonna work here.
Interesting. But what if I have a contract, right? I have a contract. It says that I'm working 9 to 5. Let's say, okay, what if we imagine another scenario, okay? I know that my boss is asking me to overtime and I just refuse to do it. Can he fire me for that? Because I didn't break any contract, right? I'm still doing my duties. Let's say I'm finishing work on time, right? I just don't want to take extra work. But whatever job I'm doing, I'm finishing it at 5 o'clock. 5:01, I'm beeping my finger, I'm going home.
Well, the employer may want to fire you for this issue, but I think the boss will definitely consult a lawyer before doing that.
Yeah.
Like for me, I would just advise the boss that you can try to fire like the guy like you, but don't use this reason.
Oh, but you can always find
The other reasons.
the other reason to do that in the
Yes.
contract. Okay. What is the another question I want to ask you? I heard many stories where they restricting the age. For example, they're saying for this work you can only do if you 35 below. Is that legal to do? If still, let's say I know that I'm suitable for this work, I'm meeting all other requirements, I want to get this job, but they just refusing me based on my age.
There might be a serious problem in the United States, but not a problem in China. I know that's definitely a discrimination on the age, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like elder than 35 doesn't mean you are not qualified for this job.
Exactly.
But but the elder age, which means that you may want more salary. So that's why many companies they don't want employees elder than 35.
Oh, because like the younger you are, probably you have less experience, which means they can pay you less.
Yes.
Oh wow, I didn't even thought that that's might be the case under it. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think there's no bad result for this kind of restriction.
And legally, if you think about it, I can't even sue them or do anything because I'm not even a part of the company, right? I didn't sign anything for them. I just saw the job offer on the internet or somewhere. I can't even do anything about it.
But you sue them for what?
For not taking me for the job based on my age. So just impossible to prove.
For example, in United States, you can just sue the company for for discrimination based on constitution. Okay,
Right.
but in China, it is, we can't just sue someone based on constitution. That's the
But
difference.
how it works, for example, in the United States, how can I prove something like that? Because I can literally, maybe they didn't take me because I'm not good enough. How can I prove that they didn't take me because it's a discrimination?
Well, it depends on the evidence you have. Sometimes they talk to the HR in the interview, and they just do some records.
Oh, and then
And
if
maybe they have other witness, and when the other guys talk to the HR or the employers in the companies, they just express their own opinion about the restriction on the age. So it depends on the evidence you collect.
we talked about the wage before. What if someone just don't pay me at all? Let's say not even for the overtime, like just don't pay my wage, or let's say they delaying it for a really long time, let's say weeks or maybe months. Do I have any rights in this kind of scenario?
I think first of all, you can just go to the labor department and just report this issue, and they will send officers to the company and just do a research about the employer, and maybe just request the employer to pay punishment fine and pay your salary ASAP. But let me talk about the reality.
Okay.
Of course, employer is definitely in a better position.
Even in this case.
Even in this case, because the officers in the labor departments are public servants, and the fact is that we don't have so many officers right now, so they don't have sufficient time to handle your case immediately. So you have to wait a very long time. I don't know how long.
And maybe for that time, I'll need to work for another couple of months, right, or something like that.
Yes. And the second choice is that you can just sue your employer in the labor dispute commission.
Was there any big cases you heard when it's actually something like that happened, and then the person sued the company and he got a lot of money for that ever? Or maybe you heard something from your experience.
What kind of labor dispute you mean? Just about
let's say the company was not paying wage, or I don't know, they didn't treat the employer right, or there was something like that, and then the employer went against them and he actually won the case.
No. I heard a lot of people won the cases, but it doesn't mean they finally got a lot of money.
Oh, okay. So you're right. Now you can go home. Technically.
Yeah. Firstly, if the company doesn't pay any salary, they will definitely have to pay you this. How to say that? The extra compensation according to law, I think, right? But that's not a big money according to the labor law. And the second issue is that even though you win the case, you have to do the enforcement procedure, right? You press the court to enforce your judgment.
And spend money on the lawyers as well. Like
Yeah,
you're
but
gonna
the
also
problem is
invest.
that when you try to enforce judgment, generally the company doesn't have sufficient money in the account. So finally, you make nothing.
Seems like I'm not in the best position in this case. I guess one of the last one regarding the labor laws. Can someone fire me without any reasoning and without any explanation?
They can't.
They can't.
According to the law, they can. But as I discuss this issue with you, you can easily see that's a issue about calculation, right? For the employer, I definitely know the result for breaking the law. But for me, I think that the compensation, the extra compensation, the salary is not a big money for me. So for the employer, it is maybe a good strategy to let you to go to the go to sue him.
Oh, and he really win something in this case.
It is time consuming, and sometimes you can't wait. So you may agree to get less money.
less money and then just get fired immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, seems like there's not much choice, but still, if anyone want to ask a question or consultate, I think Penco will be the right person for it, no matter what kind of case you have.